Interview with Peter from 4 Trips Ahead, Keefe from Ghost Cult Magazine, ghostcultmag.com, here at Irving Plaza, in the green room at Irving Plaza of all places.
Which is really red.
Which is really kind of red, but we know why it's a green room. Peter, how's it going?
It's great.
You guys are playing here tonight. Just dropped the teaser for your new single that's coming out. New record's coming out, soon to be announced with a date. Talk to us about this show tonight. Talk to us about this new record.
So the record's called And the Fire Within. It's our first full length in a few years because we've been doing a lot of EPs, mainly because of financial constraints, but also because I think that we were trying to do things that were very punchy. Now we have a full statement. The record's actually coming out March 10th through Hi-Fi Records, and we're playing the show at Irving to really kick off this year. We played Irving last summer. It was really successful. They invited us back. We're always excited to play here. It's New York City. It's our hometown. Great venue. So,
Rad. And if you haven't heard it yet, the track is Bring Me Down. We caught a little teaser of the video today. Just a couple of video seconds. But the track is super killer. Really groovy and heavy. Probably maybe one of the heaviest tracks 4 Trips has ever had.
The whole record is like that.
Is
it
now?
There's a lot of heavy stuff going on.
Is it now? See, because I thought the EP was more of a mix of your styles. So.
Yeah, no, there's still that mix of lots. I mean, when you're from New York, you have to kind of mix a ton of different musical styles because that's, unless you're blind or deaf, you kind of just get influenced by that. But there's more of a singular, heavy kind of component to this. I think there's a lot of anger and angst in a good way, and it comes through on the record.
Awesome. And do we know when that video is going to drop officially yet, or is it a surprise?
We have an official date, but it's looking to come out in the next few weeks. So it'll be probably out about a month before the album. So I'm thinking mid-February.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm super psyched just on a little bit that we've seen so far. And, I've followed the band for a long time. We're both New Yorkers, so I've seen the band since the very beginning. And my personal favorite record is The Memory, but the EP was really diverse and interesting, and you guys always bring it. So I want to hear about a little bit beyond the first song that we heard. What's this new record going to be like? And comparatively across your older music, like what would it be best compared to?
That's a lot. Let me try to answer one of those questions. So what I think is the EP was a taste of kind of where this record's going to go. So yes, it's still eclectic. There's still some mixed styles. I feel like this album lyrically, there's a real strong message of people feeling frustrated, boxed in, kind of wanting to do more with their lives and feeling that they have not so many options. So kind of I look at a lot of the songs of this record as different characters coming together and kind of figuring out their lots. Some of them are kind of over the top. Some of the characters are very much, you can see yourself within them. And some of the characters are just out of touch with reality completely. So all the songs kind of, even though it's not a concept record, it's a strong thematic record. So you'll see a string. Some of the EP touch on this, but I think as a full statement, you hear a lot more of that. So I think some of the stuff that you maybe heard on Memory, some of the heavy stuff, you'll get a lot of that. There's definitely some more, I would say we've been kind of pushing the prog envelope a little bit, so there's more of that going on too. Not too over the top, but I think that there's definitely prog moments. But the big harmonies and melodies are there. I think that what we do is we try to do heavy music or music that's a little more challenging, but we always keep a lot of attention paid to the melodies and harmonies. So that hasn't been sacrificed.
Awesome. I know for anybody that's not familiar with the band, I hate to do the for fans of designation because I find it sometimes lazy, but I definitely, if you're a fan of bands like Alice in Chains, if you're a fan of bands like King's X, if
I'll take those.
Those are cool. Very solid comparisons to 4 Trips Ahead. And another element to the band that I've always really loved is artwork, and you guys always do a great job. I know the EP and the current record that's coming out were both done by you and Ken.
Right, absolutely.
And so I really love, if people haven't seen this imagery for this new record, it's really like a throwback to like almost old 50s advertising, but also reminds me of like propaganda posters. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about this artwork and what's your process with Ken like too? I'm really interested.
I'm happy that Ken is still in the band after the process for the artwork. I think we get more into, we get more dramatic about collaboration around the artwork, because the idea is that once you're writing, our song collaboration comes pretty quickly, and there's a lot of give and take. With artwork, it's intense because you want the artwork to reflect the intensity and the message of the music. So Ken and I just kind of sit and spend a lot of time with ideas. We both went to the same art school, high school in New York, so we have some of the same backgrounds. We dig the same kinds of artists. So you definitely picked up on the propaganda element, but again, it was tied to kind of trying to make characters in the songs come out. So if you look at it, and you look at the front and back cover, you're going to see a lot of the characters and some of the manifestations of the concepts on the record. And I think that's exciting. We also wanted to be, because this is our first vinyl release, we wanted to be really special. I grew up around artwork that was really powerful and meaningful, whether it was simple or complicated. A lot of this owes to maybe, like, when I look at the artwork, I think we're kind of taking maybe Hendrix's Axis Bold as Love and maybe some of the stuff from Floyd and some of the other things you used to see in the 70s, and kind of throwing it all together, you know.
Awesome. Let's see. Got a couple more for you. We'll try to plow through.
We'll do it nice and loud.
Do it nice and loud. Luckily, I have John here. John Aravallo, photography and videography. One thing I definitely wanted to talk to you about, I always found a lot of inspiration and positivity in your lyrics. And this is a very tough time in the world we're facing, and we've just come through a very rough year, I think, for a lot of people personally and otherwise. You know, how do you stay...
It's about to get rougher.
It's about to get rougher. It already has, in a short span of time. How do you approach lyric writing, and how do you stay upbeat and uplifting even in bad times?
Well, you know, I think this record, a lot of people have heard the record early, have commented and be like, oh my God, you're like talking about everything that happened. And I think we were enveloped in the last 18 months of the election and just a lot of changes, both good and bad. And I think a lot of the lyrics, we really try to, I try to hone in on that. And things have come into fruition at an interesting time when we're releasing the album. So the songs have become that much more timely, and maybe we'll have a stronger resonance. But I think lyrically, I'm always trying to tell stories. I enjoy all sorts of music, but I like storytellers, whether it be like, you know, metal artists that are really, you know, I loved things like Queensryche's Mind Crime, or that, you know, had a whole concept and story behind it. But, you know, I also love, you mentioned like King's X. I love Soundgarden. I think a lot of their stuff is tells a lot of stories. But even heavier stuff, you know, we're from New York, so like I grew up listening to Anthrax, you know, and a lot of their stuff told really cool stories. So I like stuff like that, and I felt that it was important for lyrics to be good. And there are a lot of new bands that like lyrics don't have to suck anymore. You know, we went through a period where people liked the songs, but a lot of the lyrics were pretty terrible. You're like, but it's a metal record. And I always rejected that, you know, or it's a rock record, the lyrics don't have to be that good. And I always rejected that. You know, I felt like the Bad Brains, you know, did things differently. You know, I felt like a lot of the bands I grew up listening to had really good lyrics and really great music and songs. So, and like you're seeing the return of that, like Mastodon is doing really cool stuff that way, where they're telling stories, or Opeth certainly are doing cool things that way. And even bands like Rival Sons, where it's a little more blues based or whatever. I feel like Four Trips Ahead, it kind of fits in that, like we don't sound like that. We have our unique sound, but I think that we're still also, vocals matter a lot, lyrics matter a lot, and so forth. So
Awesome.
Water matters a lot.
Water matters. You got to stay hydrated,
Water
especially when you're
matters a
going to perform in a hot venue with a lot of lights. And Peter is sitting down, but he's very tall, so he's closer to the lights than the rest of us. So on a last note, I can't let this opportunity pass. Peter and I both went to LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts. It is 20 something over a quarter century ago at this point, and it was certainly an experience for me. You were a year ahead of me. If you have any recollections of that time, it's not often I get a chance. I interview a lot of artists. I don't get to talk about going to a performing arts high school, specifically that school in New York. Comes with a lot of stuff for New York kids. So what was it like for you? How is that, what's your relationship with that history like?
It's cool that you're asking that question too, because half of Four Trips Ahead actually came from that school, although not at the same time. So our drummer Ken, and we were both art majors, which is funny. A lot of art majors ended up pursuing music. A lot of music people pursued art and other stuff. I don't know why that is, but yeah, like Paul Stanley from Kiss was an art major,
right?
And he went on to obviously be a huge rock star. So I feel like that was you know this. It was a really special time. You were mixed with a lot of talented people that felt they had something to say. We were growing up, going to school in a really rough time when there was a lot of politics behind what was happening in the streets, and I think that going to high school at that time was really, really important. It definitely set a tone for what I was going to become and how serious I was about art. As you probably saw, we saw a lot of people that really struggled and sacrificed. I feel like that's one of the things that you learn at that school is like you learn to get knocked down, you get inspired. You're surrounded by incredible players all the time. So like you knew you had to come with your A because people from different cross disciplines hung out and played music together and shared music and art and I think that experience was amazing. It's a shame because that school is being attacked now, right? They're trying to get rid of the arts programs, which is insane.
Bizarre.
But also very telling of where we're going as a society. So I feel very blessed to have gone there, but I also feel like there's a responsibility for me as an artist to make sure that I'm making really good art that matters and that people want to listen to, but also has a message and says something.
Awesome. I can't agree more. I'm very proud of my time. LaGuardia in the house, always and forever. It was a very special time in a tough, crazy time growing up. But Peter, it's always a pleasure, man, to see you. I'm really pumped for this record. We're going to follow this very closely.
Thanks a lot.
Going to catch the show in a little while tonight. Peter of 4 Trips Ahead, thanks for spending some time with Ghost Cult. Much more hair than he had in high school. Keefe from Ghost Cult, much less hair than I had in high school. Peace.
Thanks, Keith. You're awesome. Thanks.